Okay, and welcome to our Nurture for Kids online masterclass. So I'm really, really glad that you could connect with us tonight. We're going to be spending about an hour and a half together where I'll be sharing my favourite and most powerful techniques for parents or teachers to help support children when they're struggling with those strong emotions like anxiety, anger, all those sorts of things. So just as a little bit of housekeeping, as I like to call it, to the right of the screen, you should see like a little orange box, which is called the Chat Tango box. If you have any questions, just pop them in there for me, and as soon as I see them, I can answer them. That's no problem. If you can hear me, if you've just connected and you can hear me, if you could just pop in a little message there just to let me know, that just, because I have no idea whether, I'm hoping we're all connected, but I have no idea whether you can hear me or not. So it'd be great just to let me know, because we do sometimes lose a bit of connectivity. Can't say that word tonight. So if you can hear me, if you could just pop in a message there, that just kind of gives me confirmation that everything's working okay and you can hear me. I'd really, really appreciate that. Okay, so let's get started then. So we'll just go through the a bit of a background about me and what I'm trying to achieve. So first of all, we're all about supporting the family, parents, teachers to not only support themselves but to support their family members, and in particular their children. So at the Whisper Tree, we offer a whole range of workshops, group meditation classes, and individual healing sessions. So if I just kind of talk a little bit about myself, and then why I set up our Whisper Tree sort of workshops. A few years ago, I've got two sons, and a few years ago, my eldest was really, really struggling. He started to say, he was at primary school at the time, and he was starting to say that he had stomach aches and headaches, and really started to have a lot of time off school, and we just couldn't get to the bottom of it. We looked at what he was eating, and we took him to the opticians to get his eyes tested, all those sorts of things that you do. And it wasn't until a friend of mine said, look, it seems to be every Friday that he's having time off. Is there something that he's not enjoying at school? And anyway, eventually we got to the bottom of it, that it was actually his PE lessons that he was getting really anxious about. And I think, he obviously generally was, having headaches and tummy aches, but it was, triggered by his anxiety and his worry around his PE lessons, and obviously causing him a lot of stress. So at the time I was teaching in primary, and I was also seeing a lot of other children in kind of similar situations at the school that I was teaching in. But I also, not only was I a teacher, but I also had a huge interest in yoga and meditation and mindfulness, just on a personal level. And I was using sort of lots of different techniques on myself to help myself. And I thought, well, I know these things really work. So, why don't I try and find a way to support my son? Because I didn't feel there was a lot of support out there for parents like me. And, the school were trying to help in the best way they could, but they didn't really know how. And I still feel that's the case, that there is not a lot of support for us out there when we do have children that school refuse or, you know, are struggling emotionally. So I decided to try and find a way to teach these techniques to my son. And that was half the battle, was finding that language and those words and kind of breaking it down in a way that he'd find interesting and engaging, would want to learn. So I started to, you know, find some techniques, find some books that would help get my message across. And I got him meditating as well. And within, I'd say, about 3-4 months, he'd really turned the situation around. He was going into school, you know, he was a lot happier to be there. And now he, you know, he occasionally has a wobble. He still does, but it's so much better. And he knows how to support himself. He, you know, he can talk about it in an easier way. And he's kind of made that connection between those headaches and tummy aches and his stress, which I think was the biggest thing for him. So when I saw the success that I had with my son, I approached my head at the time in the primary school where I was working and said, look, you know, I feel that I could really help some of these children. You know, would you mind if I set up a little workshop group, you know, like a Nurture for Kids workshop group before school? And I had, you know, about 5 children. It was only a small primary school. And I remember there was one girl in particular who, you know, whose mother just was really struggling to get her actually into school. They got her as far as the playground, but just couldn't get her into school. She was a girl that was, you know, really high achiever, never really had any problems before, but it all kind of came out in year 6. And I worked with her for about 6 months. It took a good 6 months, but you know, she turned it around and now she's at a secondary school, and I still hear from her now, which is lovely. And, you know, just really happy to go in. But it was really her. She really took on the techniques on board that I was teaching her, and she was using them regularly, and they really, really helped her. So it was, you know, it was such a joy and a privilege to be able to do that for her. So, you know, this gave rise to kind of other workshops in other schools, you know, and I taught secondary and primary school children. Then I started to have parents and families that would come to me privately. And since I've decided to do these online courses as well for parents, because again, as I mentioned earlier, I feel there's not a lot of support for parents out there, or in fact, very little. And, you know, I just remember as a parent how I felt, you know, just really kind of powerless when I watched my son struggle, and quite alone and quite isolated. So it's nice to have things that you can do to help your child and know that they will work. So that was the idea behind the Whisper Tree and the Nurture for Kids workshops that I'm now offering, you know, in these online classes. So if you can hear me, can I just ask again, if you just see that little orange box to the side of the screen, if you could just pop in a little message just to say that you can hear me, just because I don't know whether you can or not, and I'm hoping you can. So I'll carry on. If you could just send a message, that will be really fab. Thank you. So what we'll do, because we're spending about an hour and a half together, I'm going to give you a bit of a structure to the online course, just so that you know where you are. You know, I really love PowerPoint. I'm a real PowerPoint queen. I use it a lot when I'm teaching, and I like to structure what I'm saying just so that people know, you know, what to expect, you know, and what's coming up next. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have a bit of an introduction to energy. And this is going to give a background. It's you know, it's as deep as I'm going to get, but I feel that this kind of background is going to help you understand why I'm teaching these techniques and why they work in the way that they do. So that will be the first thing. Then we're going to go through 3 different types of techniques. you know, and as I said, I'm going to be teaching you my most powerful and favorite techniques. I have heaps of techniques that I've tried and tested and books and, you know, but I've chosen my favorite ones for tonight. So we're going to be taking a look at meditation, visualization procedures, and breathing techniques. And I'm going to be showing you exactly how I would teach them to children, how they can benefit your child. Yeah, and then that's really what we're going to focus on tonight. We're also going to be looking at how you can support the meditation and these techniques at home by creating a special space for your child. I feel this is really important for your child if you can do that. And then we're going to take a look at additional resources. As I mentioned earlier, I've bought a lot of books, a lot of inspirational books, because I feel the books really, really help, you know, bring the message across to children in a way that they understand. So I'll be looking at some of my most favorite books and other tools and resources that I've used in the past with children. Okay, so let's get straight into the energy. So as I said, this is a background. This is as deep as it's going to get, you know, but I just feel it's important that you understand where I'm coming from. It's a bit of a different, quite a unique concept, but you'll see it will all tie together. It'll all become clear. So if you bear with me. So first of all, what we need to be aware of is that everybody, and it's not just me saying that, you know, science is very, very aware of this, and you know that this has been tried and tested, but they're very aware that we are made of an energy. We have an energy, and that everyone around us has an energy, and within our space there is an energy between us. Okay, and they also know, and they've proved this. They've absolutely proved this, that our thoughts and our feelings have an energy. Okay, we also know that the average person has between 50 to 70,000 thoughts per day, which is massive. And I always think, well, you know, what are we thinking of? Incredible. So what we need to know is that these thoughts and these feelings have an energy that will impact on other people, impact on our physical bodies. But we also need to think, are these thoughts and these feelings more negative or more positive? Okay, and I think if we really think about it, we're really honest, we tend to have more negative thoughts than we do positive thoughts. Okay, so what I feel happens is that a negative thought pops into our heads, a feeling or an emotion attaches itself to this thought, and before we know it, we're in this kind of downward spiral of negativity that can feel so real for us and become so strong that it's very, very difficult to kind of break this cycle. Okay, so and I feel that what happens is, you know, we're in this kind of downward spiral of negativity, things that, you know, we're really struggling with it, and we react. So we react according to how we're feeling and how we're thinking. Okay, so I hope you're still with me. Now, this impact, the impact of our negative thoughts and our emotions, our feelings on our body is really damaging, and it can eventually lead to physical problems in the body. Okay, so this is all the Louise Hay stuff, very inspirational American lady. If you want to get more into that, Louise Hay, I highly recommend her. But they do say that, but not only is our thoughts and feelings impacting on our physical bodies, but they're also impacting on those around us. So our families, our friends, our colleagues, you know, so it's really important to know that. But not only are our thoughts and our feelings impacting on everybody around us, but also their energy, the energy of their thoughts and feelings are impacting on us. So it's like we've got this kind of two-way thing of energy going on, you know, and it's that kind of feeling that you might be feeling really, really great. You go somewhere, you go to work, or you go to someone's house, or you meet someone, and you suddenly feel a little bit anxious. And that's because you're picking up on their energy, on their feelings, on their thoughts. They don't even have to say anything to you, but you'll be picking up on that. And this is what is happening to children, and children in particular are very sensitive to energy, very sensitive to other people's thoughts and feelings. So if you can imagine, they're around loads of other children during the day at school, they're around the teachers who might be getting stressed out. They're getting impacted by that. They're getting impacted by, you know, our stuff that's going on at home. So, you know, it's really, really important that you understand this, okay? So, you know, being aware of our thoughts and feelings at any given time, and also that your child is aware of how they're thinking and feeling at any given time, is really, really important as well, because I know when they're pulling up their own stuff, when, you know, when their thoughts and feelings are getting to that point where it's influencing and impacting on their behaviors and attitudes and decisions, as we are as well, it's important for us to be aware of our emotional states as well. Okay, so basically, if tonight you can understand this key concept, that will be really, really good to, you know, enable you to help deepen your understanding as to why the techniques that I'm going to be going into in a moment work in the way they do. And I talked about awareness, didn't I? And how important it was to be aware of your emotional state, you know, what you're thinking and feeling at any given moment. And the way to do that is, you know, by using meditation techniques like meditation mindfulness, to not only help us be aware of how we're thinking and feeling, but also to help us kind of release those thoughts and those worries, okay? So as I said, as I promised, that's as deep as I'm going to get, but I'm hoping this will just deepen your background, your knowledge a little bit, so you understand where I'm coming from. If you've got any questions, just pop that in the chat box to the right of the screen. Okay, so we're going to go on to our first technique, which is meditation. I'm sure all of you have heard of meditation. And as you're probably aware, it is a hugely beneficial tool, you know, not only for yourselves, but your child or children as well. And what I probably didn't mention at the beginning is that what I highly recommend you do is, if you feel drawn to doing any of these techniques, you know, and you'll probably feel that one, you know, you'll be drawn to one or two, you may be drawn to most of them. But if you are, before you teach them to your child, what I suggest you do is you practice them yourself, so that you see how they work, you see what they can do for you, and then that will give you more confidence and momentum to then go on to teach your child. Okay, so meditation is really, really beneficial. It can help us in so many ways. I've just listed here on this slide, you know, all the different benefits. These have been scientifically proven. It can help develop emotional balance, develop a calmer approach to life, improve focus and concentration, improve relationships, improve sleep. I mean, I could go on forever. You know, there are so many benefits to meditation that, again, have been scientifically proven. I've put a nice little quote there, if you can see one of the photos. It says, if every 8-year-old in the world is taught meditation, we will eliminate violence from the world within 1 generation. That was the Dalai Lama, and I absolutely agree with that. You know, it is so powerful. And I'm going to go into ways in which you can teach that to your child. But first of all, I think it's important to mention that there are, you know, it's not just about a formal sit down, you know, practice of meditation. You know, you see images of people doing that, but there are different ways already that are, and activities that are what I like to call meditative by nature. So things like walking in nature, you know, in parks or woods or over fields, running, swimming, knitting, colouring in, gardening, you know, just even watching birds feed in the garden or raindrops on the window. You know, all of these activities are meditative by nature. And I think that I don't know, I kind of feel that we underestimate the importance of doing these kind of more, what I like to call stilling activities. They're so important, because, you know, as a teacher, I know that in schools, every minute is accounted for. I mean, it's unbelievable the these children are so busy all day, and we've kind of forgotten how to just stop ourselves and still ourselves, and the importance of doing that and giving ourselves just that room to almost breathe, as it were, is hugely important. And if you can just every day, just even find a few minutes every day for your child to do that, I think that will really help them already. So a couple of ways to actually, what you can do to kind of get them into that kind of more meditative state. You know, if you are thinking about doing meditations with your child, a couple of techniques that I would really recommend for you is the mind jar, which you may have seen already, and candle gazing. So these can be done, you know, at night, just for the bedtime routine. So, you know, just before they go to bed, you could maybe all go into your child's bedroom and light a little candle, and then just gaze in the flame. And afterwards you say, okay, what can you see? Tell me what you can see. You know, and this will just help them to focus into that flame and just create this flat, you know, that space, just that little bit of space between all their worrying and you know, hyperactivity and, you know, what, you know, and their true selves. Basically, it just creates that little gap, just, and it just stills them a little bit. But also, Mind Jar is a brilliant tool for meditation. All you need is a clear jam jar, some water, some glitter, like maybe a couple of tablespoons of glitter, and something like vegetable oil to stop the glitter from clumping. You just put all that in your jam jar, mix it up. It's a bit like a snow globe, and you just pop it in your child's room, maybe on the floor by the candle if you want. And you just say to them, just watch the glitter settle. I just want you to watch the glitter settle, and just quietly do that. And I can guarantee by the time that glitter is nearly settled, your child is going to be in a much stiller place. Okay, so it's a really brilliant tool to get into this kind of more meditative way of being. Okay, and I would just recommend that you do this in the evening as part of the bedtime routine before your child goes to bed. You know, as a mum, I know what it's like in the mornings. It's manic, right? Especially before going to school. So I would do this in the evenings, and it's just getting them into that way. This is all about sowing the seed. It's just getting them into that way of being still, the importance of stilling themselves and calming down. You know, and this mind jar, it can be used when your child's upset. It doesn't have to necessarily be used in the evenings just before going to bed, but really good and cheap tool to make. Okay, so again, any questions, just pop them in the orange box there by the side. Okay, so now I'm going to go through a couple of meditations that I've written myself, and, you know, I've used in big groups of children, about 30 plus in schools. You know, now these I've put here are suitable for younger children. So I would say primary age. You could possibly use them for older. I mean, just try it. You know, I've always used them with younger, especially the Shining Star meditation, because the vocabulary and the ideas, the concept is quite young. Now, with any of these practices, you can play dolphin songs. You know, there's songs and sounds of the waves and the oceans. This really complements, especially the starfish meditation, but the sound of waves and water and dolphin sounds or whale songs are incredibly relaxing for children. They do really enjoy listening to it. I wouldn't put it on for too long, but that is something you could source off YouTube or maybe off the internet. Okay, so let's do the first one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through these two kind of short meditations or visualization meditations, exactly as I would. Now, when I'm doing these and when I'm teaching meditation to a child, I would not do it for more than a few minutes. Okay, it just isn't going to work, because remember that they're just so unused to you know, stilling themselves and just even closing their eyes. You know, I found that when I've been in schools, children, they just find it, some find it really, really difficult to close their eyes. So if you've got a real fidgeter, what you could do is just give them a cuddly toy. That's what I used to do with the children in schools. Make sure they're warm, make sure they're comfortable. So they could be in bed, they could be lying down, you know, they've got their favorite cuddly toy, and just say, okay, just imagine, you know, just get yourself ready as though you're going to sleep. You know, try and close your eyes. If they don't, it's absolutely fine. That's what you're working towards, okay? So let's start with the starfish meditation. So let's get our wriggles out. Let's get comfy in bed. We're going to close our eyes and we're going to take a deep breath in through our noses and out through our noses. We'll do that one more time. Deep breath in and then out through our nose. Okay, wonderful. Now I want you to imagine that you've got a starfish body and you're at the bottom of the ocean, at the deep ocean. And underneath your starfish body, you can feel the soft sand of the ocean bed. And all you can hear are the sounds of the waves as they wash you along the ocean floor, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. And occasionally you can hear the songs of the dolphins and the whales as you wash backwards and forwards along the ocean floor. So just take a moment to think about your starfish body. What colour is your body? Is it bright orange or is it yellow? Is your skin soft? Or is it smooth, or is it really, really rough? So just take a moment to think about your starfish body. And then now just feel your body just being washed along the sand, backwards and forwards, and backwards and forwards. Okay, now we're just going to take a moment to wriggle our fingers, wriggle our toes, and then when you're ready, open your eyes. Okay, so I would just say something like that kind of speed, really, really calm, just speak really, really calmly, and just do that for a few minutes. That's all you need. Okay, if you're drawn to actually, you know, speaking and saying your own meditations, and that's something that you could do. You know, you can alter the vocabulary depending on your child. Okay, and as I said, as I mentioned earlier, maybe play some kind of, you know, sounds of the waves and the oceans and dolphin sounds are very, very relaxing for children. The next one is the Shining Star meditation. So this is really, really lovely. If you've heard of Relax Kids, it's a brand. And they do lots of resources for meditations for children. I've used them a lot with my classes in schools. And they have on their CD, they have a lovely, lovely version of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, which I've always used with this meditation. It's really gorgeous and really relaxing. So for this one, I'd start in the same way. So I say, okay, let's get ourselves comfortable, lie down if you want to, make sure you're warm and comfortable. And if you can, close your eyes and let's take a deep breath in through our noses and out through our noses. And then one more time, in through our noses and out through our noses. Okay, and I want you to imagine now that you're in your garden or somewhere outside and you're lying down, and as you look up, it's nighttime, and you look up into the sky and you see a sky lit with a bright moon and millions of shiny, twinkly stars. And I want you to look up now and choose the twinkliest, shiniest star that you can find. And reach up now with your hand, and I want you to pluck that star out of the sky and bring it into your pocket. Just place it in your pocket. And you can feel that star shining brightly in your hand and twinkling in your hand. And you know that that star is a lucky star, and it's going to keep you safe and warm, comfortable and happy. So that every time you're feeling a little bit sad, you can put your hand in your pocket and find your lucky star and know that it's going to help you keep safe and warm and happy every time you put your hand on your star. Okay, and now we're going to wriggle our fingers, wriggle our toes, and open our eyes when we're ready. Okay, so they were just little meditations that I've just made up myself. You know, if you are drawn to kind of, you know, just coming up with your own little meditations, it's super, super easy. You just need to think of details like, you know, what they can see, what they can smell, what they can hear, what they can feel or touch. Okay, just need like a little kind of story. You know, they can be something like they could be on a dragon's back, or they could be on a soft cloud, or in a hot air balloon. You know, don't make it too exciting. It's got to be ever so gentle and, you know, relaxing. You can think of things that maybe your child particularly resonates with. So I know that my youngest absolutely loved Harry Potter at one point. So, you know, this is when the dragon's back came in. But, you know, obviously don't make it too exciting, because if it, you know, it's meant to be meditative, it's meant to be stilling and focusing and relaxing. So, you know, you don't want to get them all whipped up just before bedtime. But, you know, that's definitely one thing that you could start to think of doing. If not, like I've mentioned, you've got relaxed kids that do heaps and heaps of meditations for children. Another technique that you can do is rock and jelly. Now, this will probably be something that I would do before I do a meditation. I've done it with, you know, classes of children before, and they absolutely love this. I would say that you could use this up to preteens and possibly even younger teenagers. The idea is that it helps to relax the body in preparation for meditation. It calms the mind. So what you do is you get your child to lie down on the backs, and you ask them to just raise one leg, first of all, and then in that leg, you ask them to find every muscle that they can think of or feel, and you ask them to tense a muscle or squeeze a muscle, squeeze their toes, squeeze all the muscles in that leg. And when they touch their leg, it feels like rock. And then you ask them to relax the leg and drop it down so it's all wibbly wobbly like jelly. They do the same with the other leg, and then they do the same with each arm. And as I said, it just relaxes the body in preparation for meditation. They love doing it, children. So there you've got a couple of meditations and a little kind of pre-meditation technique to get the body ready for meditation. Okay. So we're going to go into the next part now, which is breathing. These are suitable for all ages, more or less. And that breathing is one of those things that I feel, again, that we underestimate the power of. You know, breathing is hugely powerful. You know, if you've got a child that's anxious or upset or unable to concentrate or angry, it's just brilliant. Okay, and I'm going to teach you a few techniques now to help you support your child when they're worrying, when they're angry, okay, when they can't sleep. You know, and as I said, it's the mostly suitable for any age. You know, you can even use them on yourselves. And remember what I said, you know, any of these techniques, please practice them on yourself before you teach them to your children. Just simply because, you know, if you've been practicing on them on yourself, you can say to them, look, these work. I've used them. You know, let's give them a try. So we have balloon breathing, hand breathing, and 4-part breathing. And then I'm going to show you another one at the end that is quite useful as well for younger children. So any of these first 3 can be used for any age, including adults. So the first one is balloon breathing. And if you think about it, this can be used anywhere, as you'll see in a moment. So what you're going to do is you're going to say to your child, let's imagine that you have a balloon in your tummy, and you're going to put both your hands flat on your tummy. And as you breathe in, you're going to breathe the air into your tummy and blow your balloon up. So let's do that. We'll breathe in through our noses, always through our noses, in and out. Breathe in. Blow your balloon up and breathe out through your nose to deflate your balloon. Now, for older children, you can talk about their fingertips touching, and as they breathe in, the fingers are going to come apart. As they breathe out, the fingertips should come back together again. Okay, and I would repeat this about 3 or 4 times, no more, and just be careful. Some children, especially younger ones, will breathe in really, really heavily and then out too quickly and too heavily, you know, and if they're doing that too quickly, they're going to get dizzy, and that's what you don't want. Okay, so that's your balloon breathing, and again, it just helps with concentration. It just creates that little gap between all that worry and those negative thoughts, and you know who they are truly underneath all that. Okay. Next one is hand breathing. And if you think about that, balloon breathing, the next one I'm going to show you can be done anywhere. You know, they can do that under the desk in school. No one would know they're doing it, which is brilliant. They have everything they need on them. So hand breathing, what they do is they use their hand, they spread their fingers out, and with their other hand, their pointy finger, they go up. So they start at the base of the thumb and they breathe in as they go up to the top of the thumb, and they trace the outline of their thumb with their finger and breathe out as they go down the side of the thumb, the other side of the thumb. Then breathe in, always through their noses. Breathe in to the top of the pointy finger and breathe out to the bottom of the pointy finger. Breathe in to the top of the middle finger. Breathe out to the bottom of the middle finger. Breathe in to the top of the ring finger. Breathe out to the bottom of the ring finger. Breathe in to the top of the baby finger. Breathe out to the bottom of the baby finger. So can you just feel that stillness? Just then, if you were doing that with me, you could probably feel that it felt quite still. And that's what we're trying to achieve. We're just trying to achieve that little bit of a gap, that little bit of stillness, you know, and create that stillness for your child. So those two can absolutely be done by your child. And it's like anything, the more they practice it and the more you practice it with them, the more skilled they're going to get at it. And the more they'll get out of it, the more that those techniques will work for them. Now, the third one is 4-part breathing. Now, this one is super effective, but I feel we need more input from you, because it's like you're trying to create this kind of rhythmic breathing that, again, will help with focus, will create that gap between thoughts and feelings and their kind of true selves. So again, like the rest of them, you're going to be breathing in and out through your nose. So you might want to do this with me so that you kind of get a feel for it. So we're going to breathe in and out through our noses to the count of 4. So you just do it as slowly as me. Just follow me, follow my cue, and then you'll understand how slowly you need to go with this one. And we'll do about 2 or 3 rounds. Okay. So let's breathe into the count of 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out for 4, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out for 4, 2, 3, 4. We'll do that one more time. Breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out for 4, 2, 3, 4. And the idea is that you let your breath follow, follow the rhythm of the words. Okay, so let's just allow our breath to return to normal. Okay, so they have 3, really, really effective breathing techniques that will just help your child in the moment when they are struggling. The last one is for younger, particularly for younger children. So I suppose you could use them for older children. I mean, try, you may prove me wrong, but you get them to lie down and you get them to use something like a soft toy or just an object that they place on their tummies to start with. And you ask them to breathe in through their noses and just bring that breath down to their tummy. So again, it's a bit like the balloon breathing, and that they're raising their tummy. And as they breathe out, they're deflating. So the object, whatever it is on their tummies, goes up and down with their breath. And and it's enjoyable for them because they can see that it's working, and they're actually able to do that. Then they can move the object up to their chest and try and get the air into their chest and move their chest up and down with the object. Okay, so that's quite an effective breathing technique as well. So any of these can be used anywhere, which is the beauty of it. And as I said, very, very effective for helping a distressed child. Another thing that I do with my son, and I find that very effective, is he's a bit of a panicker, he's a bit of a flapper. Say he's had a bit of a football injury, or just the little things happen, like another child bumped into him, or that can trigger him and he gets upset about it. So what I do is I go over to him and I just hold him and I say, okay, breathe with me, breathe in and out with me through your nose. And I breathe in a way that he can hear my breath. So I just go, I don't know whether the microphone's picking that up. Hopefully it is, but I do it so that he can feel and he can hear my breath, and he just does it. He just naturally does it. It's almost like an instinctive thing with them. And, by the time you've got to 3 or 4 breaths, he's calmed down. It's really, really effective. So that's a really, really good one to do. Okay, so that's breathing. So we've done meditation, we've done breathing. Okay, now we're going to get on to the third technique, which is visualization procedures. Okay, so visualization is a big part of meditation, but because it's so powerful and so particular, I've included it in its own kind of category. Personally, I use visualization a lot. And I find that children love to use these techniques, to use visualization techniques, because, if you think about it, they're very used to using their imaginations, and they're encouraged to use them at school, for their writing and creativity and, whatever they're doing, and they use their imagining play. So they're very, very used to using their imagination a lot. And we as adults use our imagination a lot, but it tends to be in a more negative way. It's the worst case scenario, what would happen if. And so, we use our imagination, but in a very negative, or can be in a very negative way. And remember what I said about our thoughts and our feelings being very powerful. Well, the imagination powers our thoughts. So, it's just something to be aware of. It's super, super powerful. And, obviously, if we're using our imagination in a negative way, it's kind of creating this, this more negativity. It's triggering off of our feelings. So we need to kind of change this focus from a negative to a more positive one, not only for ourselves, but obviously for our children as well. Okay, so as I said, it's a training. All of these techniques are a training. Like you train your physical body, and you exercise your physical body so that it becomes fitter, and you strengthen your muscles. Well, we need to do the same with our minds, and I always say, personally, I would start with that, because if your head is not in the right place, the rest of your day is not going to be. perspective is going to be, and your focus is going to be quite negative. And this is what we need to work on to shift. And it can be absolutely done. And you can do that for your children as well. Okay. So the first technique that I'm going to show you is for younger children, and in particular the girls. The girls love their fairies and their angels. You know, some boys I'm sure will do as well. So what you could do is have, you know, like a little bag of fairy dust or something. So just, you know, maybe some glitter with a bit of flour or something mixed in a little bag, you know, like the photo. And you can either get your child to sprinkle a little bit of this. Obviously, it can get a little bit messy. Or, you know, you can visualize sprinkling this magical fairy dust. So, you know, you just say, look, you know, I've got this bag of fairy dust and it's really, really magical and it's going to make you feel safe and happy. Should we try and sprinkle a little bit on ourselves? And you can just pretend to pick the fairy dust up and just sprinkle it all over yourself, and just imagine all this glittery powder coming all over you and making you feel magical, a little bit like Tinkerbell and Peter Pan, you know. Or they can actually sprinkle a little bit on them, you know, and it's just the idea, you're sowing the seed that they've got this thing that, you know, is going to empower them and make them feel safe and comfortable. Okay, and then ask them, how did they feel after they sprinkled that dust? Okay, like I said, you're just sowing the seed. So that's the first one. So let's go on to our next two. So we have the magic cloak of protection. I've just got a little picture of a cloak there. Now, I love this one. I think it's a really, really effective idea and technique to use. With younger children, you can use a real cloak, but with older children, you know, as they get older, they can start using the visualization of having a cloak on their shoulders. And it's really good. This technique is really, really good for a child and an adult when we're feeling a little bit fearful, when we've heard something on the news or someone said something to us and we're just feeling a bit vulnerable, a bit fearful, and we're just seeking reassurance. We just need reassuring. You know, it's that type of feeling. So as I said, you can make a real cloak or give a real cloak to a younger child, or you could just, you know, just like a bit of blanket or a bit of material. Excuse me. My son's had a bright blue, kind of a little bright blue blanket with stars on it. So it was just something that looked a little bit magical, a little bit different. And as I said, kids love this sort of thing. And you just say, okay, this is a magic cloak of protection. This is really going to help you. This is really powerful. You know, why don't you put it on? If you're feeling a little bit frightened, it's just going to help you. You know, they might not want to go upstairs, for example. My youngest went for a whole phase of being really, really scared of spiders and monsters, and he just wouldn't go upstairs, you know. And we'd say to me, get your cloak, just get your cloak, put your cloak on. And it would just be like quite miraculous. He'd just put it on and he'd, you know, just wouldn't think about it. He'd just go upstairs, and, you know, it helps. You know, it does work. So I'd really suggest you get one if you have younger children. If not, you can sort of imagine that they've got this shiny, powerful cloak that they're going to put on their shoulders, and ask them, you know, what's it feel like? Is it heavy? Is it, you know, does it feel heavy on your shoulders? Does it feel warm? Does it feel soft? Is it rough? Is it, you know, what does it look like? Ask them all these things. What's it feel like? You know, so are you feeling a bit more protected now? And just use that visualization. If you think about it as adults, and I know me personally, I love blankets, you know, and they're always so comfortable and soft and warm. You know, and it's, you know, I love having them. I have loads at home, and it's that sort of feeling that it creates for us, you know. And again, just don't underestimate these things, you know. And if it's something that your child really resonates with, definitely use it. Okay, we're going to come to we're coming to our last visualization procedure now. Now, this is a bit of a special one. It's a bit different. And I put here that boys really resonate with this. I'd say that it's something that would be used by slightly older children. I mean, you may prove me wrong. You can try it. But I've always found that it works better with kind of primary age children, you know, kind of 6+, right through to teenage adulthood. Absolutely, that it can be used. And I've called it the optical calcite procedure, and it's using crystal. So that picture below is a very close-up picture, a magnifying picture of an optical calcite. They're cut like that. They look a bit like quartz. They're cut they often come in a cuboid form. You can get tiny pieces as you can get really big pieces. You can get them off Amazon. I've sourced mine from Amazon or any crystal shop or any place that sells crystals. And the actual properties of optical calcite are that they channel energy, in particular negative energy. But also quartz does that. If you can get hold of a quartz point, it will do the same, or a smoky quartz point will do the same thing. Okay, so it's crystal that you're using. And this procedure is quite what I like to call a shamanic procedure. It's kind of like a very warrior, strong procedure. You know, you can just feel it. And as I said, boys really resonate with it. So what you do is you get them a piece of crystal and they hold it in their left hand. It's important that they hold it in their left hand pointing downwards, okay, towards the ground. And you say to them, okay, you know, if you're feeling upset or angry, just feel it wherever you feel that in your tummy, in your head, in your chest area. Feel that feeling now. And what we're going to do is the crystal is going to draw that negative feeling up from your tummy, up from your chest, from your head, wherever you're feeling it or thinking it. And it's going to bring it down your left arm. Can you feel it traveling down your left arm, into your left hand, into the crystal, and down into the ground away from you? Okay, it's really, really powerful, and it's going to be able to do that. Okay, and you just get them to stand strong with their feet slightly apart, like a bit of a warrior-like stance. Okay, now my son absolutely loved this. He really resonated with this procedure, and he went, I remember he used to go to school with this optical, he had a little bit of optical calcite in his pocket, and it got to a point where he was just, you know, putting his hand in his pocket and just holding the crystal so that it would just connect it. He'd connect in like that, and it would remind him to feel safe and that he was strong and powerful. Okay, so you can use that in that way. It's just a bit of a different thing, but like I said, they absolutely love it, and children really connecting with crystals. They really, really love them. I've got loads at home. You know, I use them for all sorts of different things, but it's a really, really good procedure, this one, to use. Okay. Oh, yes. Now, a couple of tips there for you, which I think I've kind of mentioned at least one of them, but, you know, I can't emphasize enough the importance of you know, taking these techniques and using them and practicing them on yourselves, you know, before you start to teach them to your children. You know, it's really, really important that you do that, just so that you can see how they work, and it will give you the momentum to teach them to your child afterwards, and it will give you the confidence to teach them, and you'll begin to see how they work for you. The other thing, the other tip that I'm going to tell you is something that I learned kind of the hard way, but, you know, if your child is upset or angry and, you know, you're trying to say to them, look, use your optical calcite, how about using your cloak? Yeah, sure, point it out. But if they're refusing, and I have found a lot of parents saying that it's just no good. In the moment, you cannot, it's just no point in going there. Okay, you know, when they're at that summit, you know, there's kind of a peak period, isn't there, when they're in their tantrum or whatever it is, or their anger fit or whatever, where you just can't even go there. You know, just don't get in a battle with it. You could just mention it. If they don't want to go there, then that's absolutely fine. Leave it. And what I would suggest is when they're calm, or just when they're just in a good space and you're having, nothing may have happened, but you're just with them and you're having a good time, then just start to teach them some of these procedures. Maybe take one a week and work with it. And then in the moment, or just when you sense that they're getting a little bit triggered, just say, oh, look, maybe try that or try this. Just remind them, because what we want is for them to start using them in the moment when they are struggling. It's got to come from them. It's absolutely got to come from them. It's personal choice at the end of the day. But again, you can't force them to do that, obviously. Okay, but hopefully they would have practiced them enough when they are in a good space to remember and feel confident enough to use them in the moment. Okay. So just a few things to help with, oops, gone too far. Just a few things to help with shifting that focus, because that's what we want to do. We want to go from a more negative focus to a more positive one. So there's just a few things there that I've jotted down, things that I found really, really effective. So the first thing is our affirmation bracelets. So these are actually things you can source off the internet. Now the wording on those may be a little bit beyond your child, but what you could do is or even get them to make their own bracelet. And you could say that each of the beads, if you've got different color beads, will just kind of give them something to focus on. So for example, if they feel that they don't have a lot of friends, maybe one bead could be just something like, I have a really good close friend, or if they're going into school and they're feeling a bit insecure about their maths abilities, for example, then one little bead could be something like, I am learning a lot in maths. I've learned so much in the last year about maths. Just something positive to focus on and to keep them mindful of it. That bracelet can act as a reminder of what they're trying to achieve. Underneath, we've got positive kind of pebbles or affirmation pebbles. You just use beach pebbles that are smooth. You can paint them using, poster paint with a bit of PVA glue, so you get that shine. And then just need, metallic pens, or a pen that will that can be used on poster paint. And you think of like a positive statement to kind of counteract the negative one. Like something like, you are, I am calm, or you are calm, or, I have lots of friends, or I learn quickly, or, I am where I am, or, just anything like that. Now, in my membership program, which I'm going to mention in a little while, I have a whole module on how to use affirmations, how to work with them, because this is not something that I can teach in 2 minutes. But I just wanted to mention it because it's a technique that I use personally every day. I think we all get triggered. I know we all get triggered for different reasons. And the power of positive thinking is incredible. Once you know how to harness it, it can really, really help you. So it's something that I teach in depth in my membership program. So it's just something to bear in mind. The last thing you can just see a slight picture of is a gratitude jar. Now, I'm sure you've come across these. These are such effective tools. I love these. You need something like a biscuit jar, just something transparent that's quite big, or a Kilner jar, something like that. And it's, again, about shifting that focus from a more negative one to a positive one. Because I asked my children, my 2 boys, when I picked them up from school, I said, okay, how did school go today? And I rarely get something come out of it. But what I've started to do is I'll say something like, tell me one really good thing that happened today. What was really lovely about today? And you will always get one thing, like they really enjoyed their hot dinner, or they play football with so-and-so, or their teacher smiled at them today, or someone held the door open. It doesn't have to be a big thing, and it shouldn't have to be a big thing. And it's about being thankful for those little things. Because if you think about it, you know, we as adults know we could be offended 100 times a day. We could be so easily, but it's whether you choose to be or not. But conversely, you could be, you know, you could find 100 things that really, really made you smile today. Absolutely, you could. If you think about all the little things and the, you know, that happened. And it's just the little things like, you know, spotting a robin in the hedgerow, or, you know, someone makes you a cup of tea, or the sun came out for a few minutes that day, or, you know, or you really enjoyed your lunch, you know, just little things. But it is absolutely up to you what you choose to focus on. Okay, so I think that's quite a big thing, really. Now, this gratitude jar really helps with that focus and being grateful for those things as well, because the more we're grateful, the more we'll create and more we'll notice in our lives. So, you know, you have your jar, your big jar that you can see through. That's really important. Then you have little post-it notes or little scraps of paper handy, and you get your child to write down 1 or 2 things every day at the end of the day that happened that really was really good for them or made them smile or whatever. And before long, you've got you've got quite a few little things in the jar, and they can see it as visible. And every once in a while, maybe when they're having a bad day in particular, you can sit and open them and read them and kind of really appreciate all the things that do actually happen to them. So it's a really, really good tool to use. I would highly recommend that you get that or something like that and set that up for them. Okay. So, oops, oh, hang on, I think we just lost, there we go, lost a bit of connectivity there. Hopefully you're still there with me. Okay, so the next thing is creating a sacred or special space. Now, I like to call it sacred. I don't mean sacred as in the religious sense, but just sacred as in the special sense. And now I have quite a few of these at home, and my boys have got them in their own rooms. And I just feel, I mean, you may disagree with me, but I feel it's a lovely, lovely way to honor and create a space, you know, for your child to be still. It's that space. It's about honoring that space where they can meditate, where they can, you know, their own space where they can feel safe and happy to be. So obviously the most logical place would be in their bedroom, just a little corner. You don't need a huge space, or in the living room or in the garden, you know, wherever you are and wherever you think is appropriate. And in this space that you can put things like candles. If they're younger, you can have fake tea lights. Plants are lovely, you know, things that they've collected. If your children are anything like mine, they'll have fir cones and pebbles, and you know, and you can make that space look really lovely. Crystals are another good one. Photos that mean something to your child, that are special to your child, and kind of remind them of happy times. You can put some relaxing music, maybe the dolphin music, some inspirational books, and it's just somewhere for your child to meditate or to just be, where they feel safe and happy, or just to calm down. And this is where you can put, you know, other things, you know, like, for example, I've put here, you know, Play-Doh. So I'll come to it in a minute. I was just trying to find my words. You know, some like modeling clay that you can make with lavender seeds in it, for example, or they can have the mind jar. There's loads of things you can do. I've got loads of ideas. But I think it's important that it be somewhere where they can go, whether it's their own space, and that they help create and set up, and it's their own ideas that go in there, because it's got to be special to them. Now, don't get into the trap of, you know, or the mistake that I got into of when your child is kicking off, for example, and you ask them to go to their room, and then it becomes a bit of a battle because they're refusing to do that. But what you don't want is for them to have a negative association with this space. You know, it's got to be somewhere that they're happy to go, not because they're being told to go. So just be really mindful and careful of that. But you know, these spaces can look really visually stunning. I've just found a few there. These are not mine, but I just wanted you to get an idea that the sort of thing that, you know, you could create for your child. Okay. So we're coming to the last part of the masterclass now, and this is where, you know, I've got some of my, you know, my most favorite resources. As I said right at the beginning, I use a lot of books. I think books can be so inspirational, and they're a brilliant way to get your point across to your child. If there's a particular concept that they're maybe not grasping, books are brilliant. I've got stacks and stacks of books at home, you know, that I use, and I've just kind of thought of my favorite books here that I feel would be really, really good that you get, if you can. So you've got if you look at the first one on the left hand side, it's a mindfulness exercises for kids. It's just a little book. It's by Eileen, I think that's how you pronounce it, Snell, E-L-I-N-E, and then Snell, S-N-E-L. So within that book, it's a tiny little book, really, and you've got different exercises that you can do with your child, which are more mindful kind of nature. Now, you know, I touch on mindfulness, but, you know, I have a whole heap of other things that I bring into my membership program. The book comes with a CD, so you've got meditations there as well. So really, really good if you want to get more into the mindfulness aspect of things. The next one is called Mum and Dad Glue, and this is by someone called Kes Gray. Now, as you can see from the title, it's American, but it's a very poignant and heartfelt book about parents that are going through divorce or separation and the effect that this has had on a child. And it's just a really heartwarming story. And I think that if you're going through something like that or experiencing something like that and you're worried that it's impacting on your child, I'd recommend that you get that book. It's just, it really kind of sheds a positive light over the situation. You know, and it may help your family. The next one along is called Have You Filled a Bucket Today? Now, I think this is an absolute must. It's just like Mum and Dad Glue. It's just like a picture book with nice illustrations in it. And I've seen this. I know schools often have this book. And it just is brilliant. I love it. It just explains what I was talking about, how our thoughts and our feelings impact on others. You remember right at the beginning, I was talking about that and the energy. But this book doesn't go into that, but it just kind of brings across that concept beautifully and simply so that children can understand how important it is to be aware of their thoughts and their feelings and their actions and their words, and how that will impact on themselves and on others. So I think it's a brilliant book. With that come a heap of free resources online. You know, so if you're drawn to that, then you can also do other things too, you know, that will just go with it. It's quite, you know, that complement them. So you can have a few lessons from that as well. Or not lessons, but, you know, just ways to support your child with those resources a little bit. Now, the book underneath is actually a book that I've written, and the Toolbox for Anxious Kids, and it's a step-by-step guide to conscious parenting and living. Now, I wrote this last year, and I feel that it complements really, really well the membership program. So it will definitely include some of the concepts that I've been talking about, but it will go into it a lot deeper, so that you just get a bigger and deeper understanding of why these concepts are important and why the tools and techniques work in the way that they do. And that there's a big chapter at the back of the book with all of the resources, all of the techniques, you know, and tools that I've used over the years with different children, you know, that I've tried and tested, and they go into, you know, how it benefits your child as well, where you can get them from and what age they're suitable for. So I would, although it is my book, I would highly recommend that book, because as I said, I've been doing this for quite a long time now, and I've been teaching a lot of kids and a lot of parents as well. So then we come on to a couple of tools here that I work with and I always recommend. The top one on the in the right hand corner is the Guatemalan worry dolls. You may have come across these. These are brilliant. They're like little teeny tiny handmade, handcrafted dolls that come in a little stripy bag. You can get them off Amazon. And the idea is that in the Guatemalan traditions believe that these dolls, if you give them a worry each, they will sort them out overnight. And by the time the morning comes, the worries will have gone. So these are for your worriers, you know, all the children that just can't get to sleep. They find it hard to get to sleep because they're worrying. And in the bag come about, I think it's about 6 little dolls, and the child can actually tell each of the dolls a worry. So again, this is really good because it's encouraging them to pinpoint what's bothering them and to say it out loud. They put the dolls back in the bag, close the bag, put them under the pillow, and then you just say to them, okay, that's fine now. Your dolls are going to work on those problems overnight. When by the time you're woken up in the morning, they'll be, you know, you'll get a clear idea of what's going on, and you know, they'll take care of them overnight for you, so you don't need to worry anymore or think about them. So as I said, really, really good tool. I've had children that have actually made their own dolls as well. So that's something to think about as well. Now, underneath though that picture of the dolls is a vaporizer, an aromatherapy vaporizer. I love these. I have one that's kind of almost on permanently in my home. It acts as an air freshener just on one really simple level. But what you do is you unscrew it and you fill it with water and you put about 8 to 10 drops of essential oils. Now, essential oils are very kind of pure oils that have different properties in that they will do certain things and have different effects on your moods, on your emotional moods, and on your physical body. So, for example, lavender and chamomile are really, really good essential oils for calming down. So what you could do is you get one of these and put it in your child's bedroom at night and just leave it running. And what's brilliant about this particular one is that it's the Kinga one, Kinga. You can get it off Amazon. And what happens is when the water runs out, it switches itself off, which is something that I worried about. It's completely safe. It's not like the oil burners with the naked flame. So you can absolutely put it in your child's bedroom. But what's lovely about this one as well is that it goes through the chakra colours. So it kind of goes through different colours. So it acts as a nightlight light as well. And it's just really focusing. It's lovely. Another thing that you could do is have the lava lamps, which are very relaxing as well. So that's something you can put in your child's bedroom. But this vaporizes, I think that's the right word. It gives out essential oils. So if you get a good calming one like lavender or chamomile or a blend of both, it will really help to calm down your child. And also it smells nice, so you can't go wrong. Okay, so that's the essential part of the online masterclass. So they were my most favorite and effective tools and techniques. I hope you got a lot out of it. I'm going to talk to you quickly about the membership program, because I feel that, like I mentioned at the beginning, when we're supporting family, a family member, and we're kind of going through stuff ourselves, we can feel really, really isolated, really lonely, unsupported even sometimes, because it's really hard when we go through that. And I think people don't, unless they've been through it, when you've got a child that school refuses or is anxious and getting upset on a regular basis, it's really difficult. And you can feel really powerless. I remember those feelings so well. So this is why I've created and developed my membership program, because I feel that it will give that ongoing support that's so important for parents, and I hear time and time again, and I know full well that there is very little out there to help children when they're struggling. And there are a lot of children, when I was amazed by the amount of children that struggle emotionally these days with different things. Okay, so it's, you know, at the moment we have a special offer on, and this is why I've been doing these online workshops to just make parents aware that I have a special offer on the membership program. It's just at the moment it's on not for just £90 for the whole 12 months. Okay, now this is a huge saving because it's normally valued at twice the price at £180. So this works out, if you think about a membership program, it's working out at just £7.50 a month, which is a real bargain. Okay. You know, I'm super excited about this because I really, really feel that it can support you guys. You know, I know what it's like. I feel that, you know, you need that help. You know, I remember what I was like. So anyway, this is what you'll get in the membership program. So you'll get a step-by-step 12-month online training program. So I'm really careful in that I really go through everything step by step. It's very detailed, so you'll know exactly what I'm trying to teach, and you're going to feel fully supported like that. So every month you get a new module which you can start doing at home. And the idea is that you start to use it on yourself and practice all the tools and techniques, and then you teach them to your child. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's a big thing. Now, these are the exact methods that I've used time and time again with different children to support them, you know, and I know that they work, you know. And also the other thing I probably didn't mention is that children really engage with these techniques. They, you know, they've really loved to use them in the moment, you know, and just love to learn them. Now, I've mentioned my book, The Toolbox for Anxious Kids. You're going to get a free copy of my ebook when you sign up for the membership program. You will get access, and I think this is really, really important. You're going to get access to my weekly Q&A sessions, so question and answer sessions. So every week you're going to get access to me. And the sessions usually last about an hour and a half to 2 hours, just depending on what comes up. So for example, if you've been struggling with something in particular at home, or there's something on the online program that you just simply don't get, you can just email me or message me, and I will make sure that I cover it in the next session. Okay, you can also like connect with me live and ask me questions there in the moment as well. Okay, so you're going to get access to that, and I think that's a really invaluable aspect of the membership program, because you're going to get that continued support, which is really, really important when we're supporting our own family members. Okay. You're also going to get access to lots and lots of additional video training. I've made loads and loads of videos over the years, you know, from the back of my workshop, so I understand what adults need. You know, so it's not just the video training for children, it will be for adults as well, for yourselves, to help support you. So it will be things like, you know, how to free yourself from negative thoughts and feelings, you know, how to find ways to start meditating, like introduction to meditation, and how to sustain a sustainable practice when you are meditating. Just lots and lots of different ways. And all of these are going to help support you, you know, as an individual, because obviously if you're going to be the trailblazer in the family and you're going to start working in this different and unique way, you need that support. You need that ongoing support. I think that's really key if you want to make those long-lasting changes, because, you know, you will have listened to this and you would have you know, maybe written down some of these techniques, and, you know, that's really, really great. But you know, you don't want the quick fix, you want the long lasting change. And I always say to my clients that come, you know, if you get your child meditating and you get them using some of these mindful techniques now, and you're starting to use them, think what adults are going to become. Like at this early age, if you can get them to become so empowered that they help themselves and support themselves, that's going to be amazing for them as adults. And also for yourself, you know, you're getting a lot out of it. Not only are you helping your child, but you're helping yourself as well, and possibly other family members. So that's really, really powerful, I think. Okay, you're also going to get access to my private Facebook community. So on there, You can connect to other parents who are in a similar situation to yourself, you know, and you can feel supported in that way as well. And I think that's really valuable to you. You know, and on there I post regularly. You know, I will be, you know, other videos that I've done, or just inspirational posts, or just information that I've found that I feel is important for parents to know about. And also, like I said, you can connect to other parents who are in similar situations, which is always, it always helps. And you just, you know, it's just good to know you're not the only ones out there. Okay. So the other thing that I will do for you is that if you do sign up for the 12 months, just £90, you can sign up today. You know, what I will do is that you know, you're going to be able to trial this for 30 days. If at the end of that time you feel it's not right for you, then you can just contact me and I will fully refund you, no questions asked. So that's what I can do for you. Okay. So that's our membership program. Highly recommend it, just for that continued ongoing support that's so vital when we're trying to achieve something like this. So that, if you are interested, if you look underneath the screen, you've got the blue box which says today's bonus. So you just click on the button and you'll just fill in the details. You get sent to the order form. You fill in that really quick, super quick, and you get sent straight to the membership program, and you can just get cracking straight away. If you want to watch this masterclass again, because there's been a lot of information that's been given, and you've probably not been able to write things down quick enough, you've probably missed things, you may want to replay, then you just simply, if you just see under there, it just says you can purchase a replay for just £15 tonight. So that means that you can replay and rewatch this training as much as you want, which is you know, really can be really useful, because as I said, there's been a lot of information packed into there. So just £15, click on the button, fill in your details, and then you'll get sent to the replay room where you can just watch this again as many times as you want. That's, you know, lifelong for that. Okay, so you've got your two things, your membership program and your replay of the masterclass. Okay, so it was lovely to connect with you guys. I hope that you found this useful. You can always get me if you've got any other questions. You can get me on the whispertree@outlook.com. It's at the top of the page. And have a lovely evening, and I'll hopefully be hearing from you soon. Bye. I'll hopefully be hearing from you soon. Bye.